Hello, everybody. Welcome to week, I believe, 11 or 12 of Professional Skills for the Research Scientist. I'm looking forward to looking at those pretty bad slide presentations and seeing what you're going to be improving for the final assignment. This week, we're switching gears a little bit. We're moving from kind of the presentation of data into, I guess, what it would be the final stage of any research project, the writing of the research results. Today, specifically, we're going to be talking about reference manager software. And for those of you who already have a reference manager software picked out, if you're using EndNote or maybe one of the other ones we're not talking about today, do not change what you're doing based on this lecture. I want you to use whatever reference manager software you are comfortable with. If you're already comfortable using one, you can skip most of this lecture, move right to the assignment, get that done, and move on to next week. But if you've never used a reference manager software, I would highly recommend that you watch this video for today's lecture and follow along with the different assignments, because it's a small time investment that you'll take now, an hour, 2 hours, to learn kind of some of the basics. But over the course of your career, the next 2-3 years, this will save you days worth of work, especially when it comes to submitting a manuscript, having it be rejected, unfortunately. Believe it or not, it's going to happen maybe once in your career. And then you will have to reformat that article for a different journal. Believe it or not, that journal is probably going to have different reference format guidelines, meaning they want it in a different format overall. So what are you going to do? You're going to go back in, reformat. Let's say the previous one wanted like APA, where you're going to put the last name of the first author plus the year, and then you move to a different one that wants number. What are you going to do? You're going to go in and individually label all. Let's say you wrote a review article that has 150 references. Do you really want to go through and change those one by one? Not at all. Definitely not. So what we're going to go over today is how to use RefWorks. And RefWorks is offered by the University of Wyoming Library. We get it for free, which is great. So the first thing that you'll see on your module today is a quick little link, and what it does is it takes you to the University of Wyoming Library page. It takes you to this RefWorks tutorial right here. What I would highly recommend that you do after this lecture, follow along with this tutorial right here. It's okay. There are definitely some spots in here that are outdated overall for the tutorials, but it's a great place to start. I'm going to go through a couple of the little hiccups today because they try to make the software so user-friendly and different kind of formats of it. I'm going to tell you the way that I use it and the way that I like to use it best, and then you can kind of mess around with it yourself and figure out what works for you, because the way that I input references and the way that I keep track of everything is not going to be the same way that you do it. Okay, so what we're going to do here, the first thing you're going to need to do is install the Save to RefWorks button. You can see I have it right up here in my browser. The way to do that is once you get to your RefWorks library, which looks like this, under your name, there's going to be the tools. You need to do two things when you get here. You need to install the Save to RefWorks button. That's a button right there. And you can just drag that right up to your, right underneath your address bar, your bookmark bar, if you're using Google Chrome. And then you want to install WriteInsight. WriteInsight is the way that Microsoft Word uses and kind of meshes with your reference manager software, with RefWorks. When you do this, you have to make sure you choose the right version. So this is for the 32-bit version. So if you have Windows 32, you're going to use this one. But if you have a different version, you're going to use this one right here. Let's make this a little bit bigger so everybody can kind of see. And you'll just want to go right here to other versions, and this will give you, okay, so if you have 64-bit, this is what's going to be there. Then when you go to your, make sure that when you install that software, you have Microsoft Word closed. The next time you open Word, you will see a little tab up here at the top that says RefWorks. That's where you're going to have your access, okay? But we're going to get to that in a little bit. Let's start at the beginning with our software in general, okay? So we've added our Save to RefWorks tab. Here we are. And actually, I'm going to make this halfway, and the other half I'm going to have as my RefWorks home. There we go. So this is my RefWorks. You can see a couple references that I've put in there already, and I'm going to show you how to get to those. Once you have this Save to RefWorks button installed, it gets pretty easy. So let's start where most of us start for looking for references, which would be PubMed. Okay, so I'm going to look for an article that I wrote. So I'm going to write in Johnson space EC, and then I'm going to put in brackets AU. And if I put those brackets around AU, it's going to look for Johnson authors, Johnson EC authors. Okay, press my enter or click my search. Here come the articles. All right, so I want to cite this most recent article that I published about water intake, water balance, and the elusive daily water requirement. So if I want to do that, there's kind of two ways that I can do that from the PubMed search. I can go right to the Save to RefWorks. What that's going to do is it's going to open this nice little window here on the side, and look at this. Every one of these articles that's on this first 20 is going to be over here. So let's say that I wanted to cite a couple of my articles, like this one, and let's see, where's another one? The one I wrote with Dr. Schmidt and Dr. Bruns. Let's say I wanted to get that one too. So I'm going to click on both of those, okay? Two articles that we wrote. I'm going to click on the Save to RefWorks, and I'm going to click on the Professional Skills folder, the project overall, and I'm going to import those. And what it'll do is say 2 references saved to professional skills. And if you look over here in a minute, and here's where it shows it right here, all right? That shows the different citations that have been uploaded to RefWorks. So I can close that out. I know it's going to be over here. If I refresh this window, hopefully the Dr. Schmidt paper will come up. Oh, and there it is. Okay, so now that reference is in my library. And you can see all the ones that we have right here. Okay, so I can close that sidebar and I can move on. What about if I wanted to do it just through simple a Google search? Well, let's say I want to look for something that Dr. Bruns wrote, and I just search for her name, and I look up, okay, well, I don't want to cite any of these things. Let's see if I can find an article. Here we go. This will take me right to the +1 page, and here's kind of the article. You can do the same thing here. Click on that Save to RefWorks button. It's going to analyze that, and look at that. It found the title of it. It gives it these tags that are available. Here are all the articles, all the other things. It even imports the abstract. If the full text is available, it can even do that. We found a link to full text. We'll try to save it so it can save it along with your thing. You do the same thing. You do Save to RefWorks. Because this is a big one, I'm not going to do it right now because it could take a little bit of time, and I don't want to waste your time. But that's all you're going to do. One of the other things that's going to be kind of a little bit more timely is, what if you want to cite a website? For example, what if you're writing a paper about the coronavirus and you want to cite the CDC website? You can go there. But we're going to write a paper today about our awesome UW faculty. So I searched for Dr. Christine Porter, and I found that she had a newspaper article about her from back in 2018 about when she was doing some activism related to the World Needs More Cowboys slogan that she didn't think was totally inclusive. Okay, so here's an article in the Laramie Boomerang. Let's see, do we want to cite this? Yeah, we want to cite this. So you can save this to RefWorks right here. Here we go. It's a web page. It already picked up to this web page. We could kind of put this under 2 different categories. We could keep it as web page. We could also change it if we wanted to be a newspaper article. We could do that. But let's keep it as a web page for right now. Okay? Do we want to save the contents? Not necessarily, because we're going to have the URL right down there. You got a little bit of an abstract here. The date it's retrieved, that's today's date. Okay? And then we want to make sure that we put the published date. We can find that right here. That's July 8th. So we can update right here, July 8, 2018. And then you'll notice one other thing here. You got to kind of double check because it picked up the author. It put in Jeff Victor in capital, but it also put his email address in there. So let's get rid of that. Get rid of the email address. We don't need that. There's the author. We are ready to go. We're going to save this one to RefWorks as well. Save to RefWorks, import to Professional Skills, one reference saved to RefWorks, hooray. Okay, if we want to view it in RefWorks, it might take a minute to pop up there. Oh, it's already on our other side right there. We don't even need to worry about this right now. So what we've done right now is just show you 3 different ways that you can import into RefWorks from 3 different types of websites. And all of these have all the metadata associated with them that you need to cite in any sort of format. It might have the DOI that'll allow you to look up that article, and it even can store your full text of the article. I'm old school. I still like to store my full text as PDFs in a folder specific for different topics. But if you like to organize your papers this way, you can do that as well. Okay, so moving on. We've found the 3 citations we want to use in our paper. Now, let's move on to that paper. Okay, here's a quick little paper I wrote. The best research manuscript ever written. Okay, you can tell it's a manuscript because I have my line numbers in there. Really important to put that nice and double spaced. We got our serif font as well. Very important for when you're submitting a manuscript to make it look like a manuscript. Okay, and so far we got 3 sentences here. It goes, Dr. Johnson loves to write about water. That means when he talks to Dr. Bruns about her research, he usually doesn't understand what she's talking about. Overall, our department is very lucky because we have professors like Dr. Porter who cares about social responsibility of the university as well. Okay, so we got 3 quick sentences there. But we want to have a citation for each one of these to back up these statements. Okay, so there's 2 ways that we can do this. One way is by using that RefWorks tab. Another way is by using an add-in. So if you go to your Insert tab right here, you can also do an add-in. I'm going to minimize this, make this guy a little bit bigger, so hopefully you guys can follow along a little bit easier if I just blow up the size. Okay. If we go to our add-ins, our Insert, within the store, you can look up RefWorks. And right there, they have something called the Citation Manager. If you add that, which I already have, it'll pull up a little window over here, and look at this. We have our different references right here. We have the one from Dr. Bruns. We have the one from the Laramie Boomerang. Here's the one from Dr. Schmidt. Here's 2 copies of the one that I have. And let's take this one, and maybe we can... Nope, we can't delete that one right now. But that's the thing that you have to look out for, is having duplicates, because if you cited this in one place and this in a different place, the reference manager software would think it's 2 different citations, even though it's the same name. So you have to be careful about having duplicates in there. And the way you can kind of get rid of that, let's see if I can do it right now, actually. Under Manage Projects. Nope, doesn't allow me to look. But there is a way to look for duplicates within here. Oh, here we go. We can just take number 5 and delete it right there. Okay. And now we get back to this. Here we go. We have our 4 references once again. Okay. So if we wanted to insert a reference using this, we have to close this and then reopen it to hopefully get the correct references in there. Now, it still has both of them. It takes a little while to update sometimes. But if we wanted to insert one, let's say if we wanted to insert one of my references here after water. Okay, so I'll do this one, or I'll do the number 2. I'll do quick cite, and you can see it puts in the 1, and now it starts a little reference list right here automatically that has the reference right there. If you want to change the citation style, you just go here and click on the citation styles. This is a little slow, FYI. And let's say we wanted it in MLA. We do that, click the update, and now you're going to see it's in MLA format with the name, and then it says works cited instead of the references below. Okay? That's one way to do it. I've played around with this for a couple days here. I actually use an older format of it. I like the Write Insight. It has less bugs. I find that this is a little bit buggy. It messes up sometimes. Overall, I think if you learn how to use it correctly, it would be fine. But like I said, using this little citation manager window tends to be a little buggy. Not my favorite. So I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it and why I like to do it the way I do. So let's close that. Let's delete these guys. Let's get rid of this guy. There we go. Let's left justify. Yikes. Here we go. So that was one of the bugs. When I put that citation in there, for some reason, it center justified that whole paragraph. Not a huge thing that you'd have to correct if you left it in there, but just one of those things that I'm not a super fan of. So what I like is I like to use something called the RefWorks Write Insight. And one thing you'll do is the first time you go in here, you're going to have to log in using the same login you create when you create your RefWorks catalog. So once you log in, big thing, you want to sync your database every time. Especially if you just added some new references, you'll see this all turn gray. What that's doing is now Microsoft Word is communicating with the server at RefWorks where all of your references are held, and now it's back to all colors, so now it has all its functionality back. So anything I added or changed within my RefWorks webpage now is here in Microsoft Word. So here we go. Dr. Johnson loves to write about water. Let's put a reference in here. And what you can see here is if you look up, you can actually look up different styles of reference output or bibliography output. Right now, we're in medicine and science and sports and exercise. That's the one we've chosen. And believe it or not, because a lot of journals know that people use this, what they will do is they will send code to RefWorks to make sure that things are formatted correctly so that you don't have to go in and change all your references to say, okay, well, they want a period after the title. Oh, and this journal wants a semicolon. This one wants the journal name in italics. This one wants it bolded. You don't have to worry about any of that as long as you just search for the journal name in there and you can pull it up and generally things are going to be correct. Okay, so we want it in that one. I'm going to insert my first citation right here. And this is from me. So I'm going to do, this is in the not in folder. It's a little funky how this window works. It's really, really small. You can change that size just by kind of clicking and dragging. And what we see here is it hasn't quite been updated yet, but we know it's reference number 2, and this is the Armstrong-Johnson paper, okay? And what we're going to do here is we're going to double-click on this guy. Oh, maybe. Let's try again. There we go. Double click on it. You'll see it moves down to the compose citation right there. Okay. And we're going to click on OK. What it does then, puts it right in there with a number 1. That's what MSSC wants. Okay. And so then we go down to Dr. Bruns about her research. She usually doesn't understand what she's talking about. Research, I'm going to put it right after research. And in this one, I'm going to put in, once again, okay. Scroll down. I want to put in this one. But I also want to put in the one with Dr. Schmidt as well. Okay, because Dr. Bruns was a co-author on that paper, so she was associated with that as well. I understand the small paragraph of that paper that I wrote about water. So we'll put these two right in here. And if you look, it puts 2, 3. Fantastic. All right. So those are right in there now. And the last one is for Dr. Porter. Okay, we want to cite her research right here at the end. So we will go in, insert citation, insert new, look at folder. We'll go scroll down. And remember, that was a research article written by Jeff Victor. Okay, there we go. We're going to put that one in there. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like this, we have all of our citations placed in our paragraph right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to bibliography options. We'll click down where we want the bibliography to go. Bibliography, insert bibliography. There it is. references. Let's make this a little bit smaller just so you can see it. We can zoom out. We'll do the whole thing in a little bit smaller font. There we go. Reference number 1, reference number 2, reference number 3, reference number 4 right here. It has the title, it has where it's from, when it was cited, and the address where it's available right there. Great. So we submit this to MSSC, gets desk rejected. Send it in. 30 minutes later, we get an email and says the editor says, no, this is a terrible paper. I'm not even going to send this out for peer review. It's that bad. So we get it back. We're like, oh, man, what are we going to do? Well, let's send it into diabetes. All right? So if I want to change that, all I would do is go back to my RefWorks tab, and I would go to diabetes. Okay, we're going to submit this to diabetes now. And nothing has changed yet, but if I reapply the output style, what's going to happen then is it'll take a little bit of a minute. I don't know if it's quite changed yet. But you can see here now in our bibliography, now this has the name here. So obviously this journal wanted different output style for the bibliography. So now we have when it's accessed down here. So now our bibliography has been changed. It still had the same numbers here. Okay. Oh, nope. Let's see if it changes. It sometimes takes a little bit. But then I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah. But you know what would be better? Let's take this sentence and put it first. Now let's copy it and put it right up there. Well, now we have 4, 2, 3, and another 4. Sorry, not copy. Let's take this one, cut it, and put it at the beginning. Well, now our first sentence has the number 4 at the end. Okay, so our first citation has the number 4. That's not right. Once again, reapply output style. You automatically change that to number 1. The bibliography moves Jeff Victor up to number 1. We have a 2. We have a 3, 4 at the end. It moves those down in the order. Some journals want these in alphabetical order. Some want them in the order of appearance. So this is order of appearance. If we were to switch back to MSSC, I believe that they are an alphabetical one. And look at that. Now we're alphabetical. Armstrong, Bruns, Schmidt, Victor. Okay, even though it's not there, they don't ask for it. And now we see the number 4 there. 4, 1. Easy. You click a button, it changes everything for you. But then, the last thing you always do before you submit to the journal is you want to look at your things and you go like, oh, dang it. Look at this. This is all caps. We don't want all caps for that person's name. So what we got to do is we got to change that. So let's go back to our, not the tutorial, the actual thing. Here we go. Well, we got to change this. So that Jeff Victor name has to be edited. If you look up a lot of old research articles from the 50s and 60s sometimes use all caps for the author names. It's a pain in the neck, but you got to change them so they all look the same. Edit right here. We can click right down in this. Let's do this. Now we've done that. Click on Save. And if you look over here, now our name of our author of that newspaper article, that web page, is now in lower cases. So let's see what happens. If we go back to here, unfortunately, it doesn't automatically update it. All right, so we got to do a couple things. Well, we just changed our database, so let's sync that database again. Listen to the Jeopardy theme song in your head for a minute. Wait for the grays to change. Depends on which way the wind is blowing. Oh, and we're back. All right. Hasn't done it yet. What happens if we reapply the output style? Look at that. It changed that Jeff Victor to lowercase because it went back to our database that we just changed, saw the difference there, updated it correctly. And now everything is correct. So that's the great thing. The question that you might have is the last one is, where do you find the different output styles? So here you go into there. If you want to select another style, you could go into here. More styles available in RefWorks via the output style manager. So if you wanted to put more into these different folders, like my favorites, you go back, cancel that, go back to your window here. Okay. And we have to find citation style editor. You decide to edit a style. Oh, this is if you want to change one. You don't necessarily want to do that. You can edit actual citation styles, but you can search for whatever you want. Let's say we wanted to submit to circulation. There it is, right there. Circulation, this one's locked. You can't change that. There it is, and that shows you that style right there. And then you can update that. You can move that in. My custom styles, right there. Tools. Oh, if you want to search your different references, if you pull a lot of them in, you can use that little window right there. I'll post a quick little paper about how to change those, a quick little SOP about that. So, what do I want you to do for this week's assignment? It's pretty simple. What I want you to do is upload 10 different citations. They can all be from PubMed, Google Scholar, internet, whatever you want. Just 10 different citations that are specific to your field, whatever your project may be. I want you to upload 10 of those to RefWorks. Then just take a screenshot of your RefWorks library right here, and then put that picture as the first page in your Microsoft Word document. Next thing I want you to do, I want you to incorporate those into a quick little paragraph. Doesn't have to be super relevant. It could be something you've already written, and you're just going to put those 10 citations in there in some place. Okay. You're also going to put the citation manager as 2 different journal formats. So choose 2 journals that are in your field and have that formatted in version number 1 after the screenshot page with your references on it. Version number 1 is going to be the first journal type, okay? And then you're going to have a second type of that right after it with the second journal, okay? So I want you to format the same paragraph with the same references in the same place for 2 different journals. It could be that both of those journals want the same type of reference type. Maybe both of them want APA style, okay? Well, all you have to do then is just go to the website for that journal. Let's do this one. Let's do MSSC for a minute. Look at that. It's all ready to go. You're going to look up author guidelines for your journal. Medicine and Science, Sports and Exercise, author guidelines. You go to that web page and submit a paper. Author guidelines. There we go. We can close our ad. Here we go, right here. Medicine, Science, and Sport and Exercise has specific instructions and guidelines for submitting articles. What I would do if I was doing this assignment, I would go down, keep going, misconduct, tables and figures, manuscript submission requirements, language, electronic submission. Usually it's toward the end. References. Okay, they tell you the references right here. And they also tell you that that's the format is available right there. What I want you to do for the assignment, right after the end of your bibliography, just do a screenshot of this to show me that you went to that website for your journal and looked up what the actual reference style was. Hopefully, RefWorks will have that style already in their library, so you won't have to do anything, but I just want to make sure. Okay? So that's the assignment for this week. Pretty quick and dirty. You are going to have to play around with this software a little bit. It's, like I said, it's a little bit funky. Keep practicing with it. Get those 10 references put into a paragraph. Put them in 2 different journal formats. And then the first page of that is just a screenshot of your RefWorks library. If you're not using RefWorks, just take a picture of whatever software that you're using. Do not try and get away with typing it all in and doing it through Microsoft Word. Okay? It's not worth your time to do that. Yes, you're going to take a little bit more time to add 10 references, but imagine if you were writing a paper, like I said before, a review article with 150 references, and you submitted it to, physiological reviews or something like that. It got rejected. You're like, okay, I'm going to send it into Nature. You don't want to go through those 150 references and change the format. Maybe you move a sentence. Oh, now I got to change all the reference numbers after this to make sure it's in the right chronological order. No, you don't want to do that. Your mentor doesn't want you to do this. That's a waste of time. Get used to using a reference manager software, or at least familiarize yourself with it here so that when you write your next paper, it's not starting from scratch. Okay? That's it for today. Make sure you email me with some questions, comments, any concerns. I would really recommend that you try and watch this before next Friday, just like I said, because it takes a little while to do this. Next week will be our last lecture. No assignment associated after next week, but the assignment that you're going to be doing after you do this Reference Manager one is going to be improving your slide deck. Okay, so that's going to be the last assignment. That's your big assignment for this class. And just like it says in the syllabus, no final exam. So that'll be the last assignment. Okay, guys, 2 more assignments to go. Great job this semester. I've been getting a lot of really good feedback. If there's anything you want to see from me in the last lecture, just give me a holler and I'll try and include it. Talk to you next week.